Hey everyone, it's Andrew Brown, and welcome to the free GenAI Bootcamp. I'm just going to get up one slide here, and then I'm going to introduce to you our guest instructor is going to introduce themselves here. But I'll just get my screen up here nice and quick as per usual, which I think is this screen here. There we go. And so I just want to remind folks that if you're deaf or hearing impaired, the best way to watch this live stream is on LinkedIn. And if you're on YouTube, we'll drop the LinkedIn link in the description. Drop the LinkedIn link in the YouTube description. We'll do our best to follow videos with providing captioning. I'm not sure how well we can do this week because I actually don't have Bako in my ear. It's just me running the show, but luckily I have a really good guest instructor this week to help me out. Trevor, do you want to go ahead and give yourself an introduction for our boot campers?
Sure. Happy to do it. And hello, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. I see you all in the chat there. So nice to see you and meet you. Trevor Spires. I am a content creator. You can catch me on YouTube and LinkedIn. In my day job, I am a solutions architect at Amazon Web Services. And I spend a lot of time working with customers and other engineers and architects on this GenAI stuff. I've been fortunate to get to work on a few deployments that have gotten into production at scale in the real world. So excited to talk through some details on Nova models today, a little bit of Bedrock stuff, and then of course, I don't know if you got into this with the chat yet, Andrew, or the learners yet, Andrew, but Claude 3.7 dropped this week, and so that's some kind of new hotness that could be worth spending a little time on.
I mean, that's something that we might even want to talk about. I also gave GPT 4.5 a go as well. So
yeah,
I'm a big fan of Windsurf. So
yes.
I end up using these models quite a bit. But I'm going to go and bring my screen back up on the screen here. We're going to proceed through our weekly slides here. And then Trevor is going to be driving here today. I'm going to be hanging out. I'm just going to be vibing. And so I just want to go ahead and thank our sponsors. So for those who know, Intel is one of our sponsors. Check out their virtual booth. Take a look at OPA, AI PCs, which will be featured more so next week, I think. Maybe this week as well, but more so next week. And OpenVINO next week as well, as it'd be very fun to do some optimization there to work. And remember, folks, if you want me to review your developer profile, make sure you fill out the Torque profile. I am working every other day to try to do as much grading and as much reviews as possible. If you have yet to see one from me, do not worry. It will get done, especially after our last week, because I'll have all this time to focus on grading and get caught up. So for those who have gotten grading, good for you. For those who are waiting, I apologize, and we were getting through it. CodeRabbit. So hopefully folks gave CodeRabbit a try last week and tried to generate out a summary. That's something that you could try to use in your homework if you want to try to determine what a good summary might be. So I'd be very interested if people were to drop in their PRs. I don't think I put in the homework submissions to put that there, but if you do, try to drop in the PR for your CodeRabbit there. And I would love to look at them directly and see if it actually is a cool way that I could just read it, and that might save you some time writing as a test there. Oh, Shala's here as well. Hey, Shala, sorry. Love Shala in the green room here. Shala, how are you doing?
I'm good. How is everybody?
I think I think most people are here, but for those who are not, I think they're stuck in OPA world. I think I would describe last week probably as our week of hell, but there's always going to be a hard week, right? And
yes.
so I think I'm going to balance it out a little bit and make these next 2 weeks easier and funner and more availability for folks to do stuff, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. So this week, I mean, this is kind of our week where we are working with a lot of different kinds of, we're kind of rolling up a lot of our experience together and be able to build whatever it is that we want. And so for these last 2 weeks, I mean, the next week is very enterprise production stuff focused, but I want that to also just be light because I want to give people more time to kind of build something fun. And so that could be building a visual novel, building a text adventure MUD. You could build a flashcard immersion system where it generates an image for the word that you need to see. Something fun, something that's immersive. Keyword is immersive. And I don't know if I spelled the word immersive right. That really looks wrong. Immersis. I don't think that's right. But
yeah, I think there's supposed to be a V in there. Yeah.
Maybe. It's hard to say. But maybe I can say that that's Tokipona. I don't know. But yeah, just wondering, boot campers, how are you doing? How would you describe the difficulty of last week from 0 to 10? If we can get a score here in the comments, I'd love to know how hard it was for you. 0 for super easy, 10 for just way past what you'd like to do on a regular basis. And so we got a 10. See a few more, another 10, another 10, another 10. Okay, great. So I'm hoping that the next couple of weeks here are more a 20, a 22. So I'm hoping the next few weeks are, again, going to give you a bit more flexibility to catch up or work on something more fun, show your creativity. Philippe gave it a 1.01, which is good. Well, Philippe has done really good work with Tokipona, so I'm really excited to look at that later on. But yeah, 10. So that's expected, right? So hopefully the upcoming weeks here are a 5 score here. But Trevor, what do you got for us today?
Oh, we got some good stuff for folks today. We're going to dig into like almost I would call it like a workflow or a pipeline of passing different data through models. So we're going to explore some visual models, and then I'm going to showcase image generation models. I'm going to showcase how a lot of customers are using understanding models or like LLMs, kind of traditional multimodal models, to understand images and process images. And then we'll have some fun animating the images, making it run around and do some cool stuff.
And Shala, is that like a jet black AT&T in the back there? What are they called? What are the walkers called? The Star Wars walkers.
I was like, what? Yeah, it's the AT-AT.
AT-AT? What did I say? I don't know. AT&T?
Yeah, that's what I was here was
saying. Is that AT&T in the...
I
didn't know they came. I didn't know they came in different coatings, eh? So I mean that's pretty cool. But are you a big Star Wars fan or?
I am. So that I have like a ton of Star Wars Lego sets, and then I'm laughing at the comments. And what's funny is this is like virtual of my old streamer setup because I tore it down.
I
was gonna say your set looks a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was tripping out because it's at like a slight angle, and I was like, how are you straight and everything is shifted 15 degrees?
You live on I think Shala lives on a hill, right?
Exactly.
So, but and wait, is those swords in the corner as well?
Yeah, I'm glad somebody said it because I'm like, what are you chopping with those things?
So giant lava lamp. Yeah, so I do collect.
Wait, is that a giant? How big is that lava? I thought maybe it was like a small one, but now that I'm thinking about perspective, it's like half the size of the door.
So yeah, so I am. What am I? I'm 4'10", so it's about half my height.
Chopping down the haters. That's right.
What's the what why and when for the swords?
Okay, so I've been collecting them ever. Okay, first off, I did martial arts, so let's start there. I did MMA for So and so I did MMA for a while. And I've just always, I don't know, I've just always liked swords, and my parents will like go out and like, hey, do you like this one? And they would like buy it. And so I started collecting katanas and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, I like them.
So don't mess with Shala.
I also have some daggers too, but the daggers are like on a shelf.
Incredible. Cool. Just incredible.
All right. Okay. And that's the segue for Trevor to share his screen.
That sounds good, folks. I'm going to start by I'll start pulling up my screen. I'll show you something that I built for you all to kind of walk you through some of these different concepts, and we'll bounce around today. It'll be a nice cash vibe. But actually, you know what, Andrew, I'm thinking before I jump right into what I built, you said it, and I would love to talk to you and hear your thoughts on some of the new models that dropped this week. I've been and I'm kind of curious how when you mentioned 4.5. I've been playing a lot with Claude 3.7. I saw some folks in the chat had some comment about both models. I kind of wonder, like, I have my patterns of what I do when a new model comes out and how I want to play with it and explore it. kind of curious what you do whenever a new one comes out and you want to learn about it.
Well, and the key thing that's important to understand is like what your patterns tell about whether that model's good or bad for you. Because first, like I use Windsurf for people probably know I use Windsurf for AI as my AI coding assistant, and they had Claude 3.7 and then GPT 4.5. And so when I switched over to Claude 3.7, what I found out was that it was a lot more aggressive at just changing things and going different directions and dumping code everywhere. So it could do more, but more of what I didn't want. And so I had to step back the code a lot, saying like, hey, no, take this, get rid of what you're doing, right? Go back a step. And so, the way I have been prompting, it's just been building apps, is I'm taking a waterfall approach because my background is building apps for startups as fast as possible. So literally make a doc and then just go hammer it out. And so that approach wasn't working well with 3.7 as it was just making a mess of things. Whereas GPT 4.5, when I would prompt it, it would step through each step. Like it would go like, okay, these are the things I have to do. It wouldn't tell me always all the steps, but it felt like a logical stop of where it, like you're a pair programming, like what should we do next? Like, should we go there? And so it wasn't going to do anything to the end, but it wasn't making me undo things. And so that was more of like how you should work with a pair programmer. But I thought, maybe I don't like 3.7. But then when I was using it for something else, I was using it for extracting a vocabulary from a large amount of text. It was so phenomenal at that task. Yeah. Whereas before, when I had to take, like, let's say a movie, like a Japanese movie, and each line had a transcript, and I want to convert it to structured JSON output and extract all the little pieces of stuff. If you gave it too much, it would start just grouping things together. But the new one, it was just killing it, right? So like, I can't say that 3.7 is bad. It's just that I now really appreciate it because it basically cut out a lot of the stuff I used to have to orchestrate. So like I built this transcript thing. I'll have to show it to folks in the bootcamp, but I built this thing out that went line for line to build our vocabulary. But I had to take iterate through each line and then feed it to another LLM and then another one to evaluate it and report it. But now I just use the one thing and it cuts all that stuff out. So neither good or bad, just different. Sorry, yes, Trevor?
Yeah, no, totally. Absolutely. I think for me, the first thing, but actually, if you throw my screen up here, I'll show folks.
Oh, sure.
This has become the pattern that I go down like the first time a model drops. And this is just the one that I use. I don't know that I actually have done no research on how these folks do their benchmarking and stuff. I just know that when one drops, what I basically want to see these three metrics. I want to see some analysis of what is the general intelligence is a tricky one, but speed and price are always I find pretty trustworthy. Intelligence different because, as you pointed out, different tasks, different models are better and worse at, right? So a great intelligence benchmark doesn't necessarily mean it'll be good at your task. But I find that this the reason I want to look at these three metrics when a new model drops is because it gives me a sense of what the model is good for and what I think we might want to apply it.
Why is GPT 4.5 so expensive?
Yeah. Well, this is it's a little pricey and it's not the fastest, right? It's about they say it's about twice as by this benchmark about twice as slow as 3.7. And yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, when they launched 4.5, they even said this is not a frontier model, meaning it probably is not going to be in the critical path for a real-time application. Although you use it for coding. So did you find the experience pretty snappy?
I found it faster than Claude 3.7, but this is the reason why. This is the reason why. It's because it wasn't trying if I said, here's a big tech spec, go in, because I have a few base projects that I always will try to rebuild and test to get a baseline of how these things work. It's and it's the Lang portal, folks, that we use at the Lang portal is tech specs. I'm running through those there. And so when I give it to Claude, I'm waiting around. It's doing more work. It's going through the whole flow. But the thing was, because GPT 4.5 stops and then says, let's do next, I could actually get through it faster. So maybe from a I don't know what a token per second speed it is. Maybe it is slower. But in terms of productivity,
I mean, it's a little slower.
I was moving faster.
But from what I can see, it's actually like it's not like so substantial, like for what you would expect from a coding assistant in terms of like the output tokens per second. And the other thing is, I feel like, and I don't know if you've talked about this with the students, or this is something that I've been learning a lot about, is like the speed, and this is an interesting metric. This is being measured in output tokens per second, but really what you usually care about is not output tokens per second. You usually care about time to first token, right? At least if you're reading a response, because if as long as the first token comes within a second or two, like all that really matters after that is it generating text faster than the average human can read, and most models are pretty good at that, I think.
But surprisingly, you know, I keep going back to Claude 3.5 just because I have so much domain knowledge built into it. So
yeah.
You know, but there are times I'll switch out to them. There is one that we have this is for another live stream, but Google's Flash. I haven't used too much of it yet, so we'll see. It says it's the fastest. I don't know. I'm really again still surprised how fast the Nova models are. This says Nova Pro. I can't remember if they're all Pro or is Pro the Pro? It's Nova. Like Micro Light Pro.
There's Pro, so I'll actually pop into Bedrock as we're talking about it, so folks can see. This is where if you were going to access an Amazon Nova model as of today, Amazon Bedrock is the place to run Nova models. So within Nova there is today Pro, which is like Pro is what you might refer to as like the Nova GPT-4 class model in terms of like it's comparable in intelligence to GPT-4o, but where it tends to shine
Light was really good. I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
I've seen a lot. I've done a lot of benchmarking on both of these, and they're for like an overwhelming majority of simple tasks, like Light performs as well as Pro. And so it is one of those. I think that's another thing that's happening right now that's happening across model providers is like as models get smarter and smarter and smarter, like you can like many applications can just get bumped. You can crank it down from Pro to Light or from Light to Micro and mostly to save on speed. It's less about cost and more about speed.
Bootcamper's question: have you used 3.7, GPT 4.5? Has anyone played around with Nova Pro yet? Just want to see here. Drop in the comments. Shala, have you been playing with any new models, or you been playing any new video games?
I haven't been doing video games either. Well, no, I've been playing Mortal Kombat 11 lately.
Ooh.
Yeah, I messed around and got back on there, and I played that online a lot. My favorite character is the Joker and Melina.
I haven't played the latest. Like I have I think Mortal Kombat 10 and stuff like that. I used to go with I'm trying to remember his name. Kung Lao, who's the one with the hat that you throw?
Yeah.
Who is it? I'm saying Kung
I think
Lao.
It's Kung Lao. I think so. Let me see. Let me make sure.
Kombat.
I know who you're talking about.
Kung Lao, you nailed it. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Assuming this is the guy you're referring to.
Oh yeah. I'm if I get a little bit of time to prep, I'm pretty good. The other fighter I really like is from the 90s, and it's for Super Nintendo and 64. Killer Instinct. So doing those combos are really fun. Yeah, but
man,
and I guess if people haven't used models, what's your favorite fighter from Mortal Kombat?
That isn't. I actually quite like the parallel of comparing models as video game fighters.
That's you know who did that, right?
Banjo
at reInvent. Banjo literally made.
Oh right, he did like another. They played Street Fighter. Is that what it was?
Well, it wasn't Street Fighter. It was like characters they generated out, and and you had to prompt the models. It was one of the most impressive demos I've ever seen. It was really cool.
Yeah. AI has definitely raised the demo landscape for sure. Cool. Well, folks, I'll show you. I built a little something for you in preparation for today's lesson class. I don't know how you refer to them this week, this Saturday. I'm going to walk you all through it real quick, and we'll probably spend a lot of today's session talking about some of the concepts behind what I built, and something that I think could be interesting. I like to, anytime I'm doing any sort of teaching, I like to keep a whiteboard up because one thing that I'm starting to see just as I'm working in the field is like, a demo like this is a relatively simplistic demo. But what I see is like customers or organizations, and you used a great example, Andrew, of Windsurf, right? Awesome IDE, incredible experience. And that's actually probably behind the UI, that's probably a very complex AI app that's hitting many different types of models for many different tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing that I have been spending a lot of time on with folks is really not just how do you develop on top of a foundation model, but how do you build a complex app like let's call it a coding assistant agent or like some other system where you actually are running multiple LLMs behind the scenes, where you might have a single user experience that's actually hitting, a Nova model, a Claude model, and OpenAI model just based on what's flowing into the app. So that's something that I'll dig into after, of course, I show you the demo in chat. This is where I'm going to need some help, actually, because this is a pretty wide open demo. I'm going to start by using the Amazon Nova Canvas model. So the Nova Canvas model is an image model, so text to image model. It could also be image to image, so you can input an image and have it adjust that image. And I would love for somebody to give me some ideas of what image we should start generating.
Mortal Kombat character. How does it do people? Can it do people, or is it not allowed to?
I actually
or not realistic people, right?
I actually haven't tried to see could you create Michael Jordan or something. So I'm open to try anything. I haven't tried it yet.
Well, some image models, like if you attempt, it just won't do it because they don't want to infringe.
Yeah,
like
totally.
obviously, one social platform will let you do anybody
yeah.
with anything, but
yeah,
I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, like if it doesn't work, that's fine. We'll figure out the limitations, but it wouldn't be if it couldn't, it wouldn't be unusual.
Yeah, I have a sense that it probably doesn't, because one thing, in fact, like this is probably not very important to folks that are learning on an individual level, but folks that are learning and applying this in the real world. Like one interesting benefit of the Nova class of models is they have really one of the strongest legal indemnification policies of any LLM, meaning that you are if you were to roll it into a production app and it did generate some copywritten image or copywritten text, Amazon takes liability for any following legal action, which is an interesting benefit. It's not uncommon for model providers to do it, but the extent to which you're covered with the Nova models has been
Bootcampers, cool. You heard it. Try to get yourself a payday.
That's right.
And I don't mean like the chocolate. I don't mean the candy bar that I like to eat, but I mean like a real payday from AWS to counteract a misconfiguration of your high AWS bill.
All right. I guess I thought of Scorpio because we were talking through. I actually haven't tried something so abstract, so we'll see what it comes back with. But what I'm going to start, folks, by just inputting. I've created a little form here to put a prompt in to just generate a base image. Now, when it comes to image models, like something that's interesting and you all might see is you could I could make this be like a wide open box where I'm freeform typing in text.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about the way that an image model is trained, so let me back up. The way you prompt a model, any model, if you're optimizing those prompts, the best optimization of a prompt is to get the prompt as close to the prompt the model was trained on, because models are trained on a series generally of like a prompt and a response, or in the case of images, some prompt and an image. But in the case of images, the prompt is actually just a caption, right? Like when you train a model on an image, it's not going to have an image and say generate a walking cat. The image is going to have a lot of different attributes: cat, outside, sidewalk, etc. Right? And so that's why you'll see that's kind of reflected in the prompt form that I have in place, because I kind of want to restrict the user to do a well-designed prompt, right? By making sure it can only input things that the model is expecting as an input for the image generation.
Okay, so We have Scorpio, outer space, action position.
Yeah, I actually do. I'm kind of. I'll go back to like probably a dog
or
something.
I guess the point is that those are required. Well, no, it's like, hey, we got a Scorpion. That's actually pretty good.
The only thing that's required is subject and environment, right? So those are two things that you'll want to have in every Nova canvas prompt. But everything else is optional. But you can control, lighting, camera position. You can add like some kind of art form style to it as well. I didn't know this at output. This is I don't know. This looks like more of like a crawdaddy to me.
That's what I was gonna say. That looks like a crawfish. It's a crawfish that, I don't know, it came into contact with some kind of chemicals because that tail part.
Yeah, the tail.
It looks like the other claw, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's claw ended up on the tail. These models are notoriously bad at.
Do you folks like eating a bucket of crayfish or?
I lived in Mississippi for a little while when I was in the military. I did some training down there, and there was a lot of like Cajun food. It was like right on the border of Louisiana. Yeah. And I definitely I had some nice crawfish boils. I didn't mind it. I don't seek it out. It's one of those foods. It's like it's nice, but it's almost so much work to eat it that the satisfaction of the food itself is lost in the effort it takes to extract a little bit of a little tiny bit of meat.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else is like that, but I guess it's pretty much shellfish are almost always like that, eh?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. So folks, I think I'm going to rerun it, and I'm going to run it because one interesting thing, and this is actually, I think it's useful to know this. Like, I don't view this as like good or bad. I view it as like something engineers need to be aware of when they're using the models. Is like, Shayla pointed out some imperfections in this, and we all were making a joke. This looks like a crawfish, right? The reality is the quality of image that's output from one of these models is informed by two things. Like, yes, the prompt that you generate and the specificity of that, but equally as important, like what was the image trained on, right? What was the model trained on? What type of images? My guess, my gut instinct based on this is that it probably wasn't trained on a massive excess of Scorpio. Or maybe if I had made it Scorpion. But one thing I know about the internet and about public domain images is that there are a lot of cats and there are a lot of dogs.
I was going to say, like, they're going to say a lot of clip art.
Yeah. So we're going to go with, I'm personally a dog person. So I am going to do a German Shepherd. And I want to extend the prompt a little bit and show you all some of the impact of these different positions and different actions you can take. But I want a German Shepherd. I want a German Shepherd in the Swiss Alps. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be running. It's going to be nighttime. And the camera position is going to be, I don't know camera position. I'm not much of a cinematographer.
This is also just like standard camera position. It's so hard to come up with. You need like basically a prompt generator just to help you figure out camera positions, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
Cinematography, yeah.
100%. Because there's probably like, I'm sure if I looked at the doc, it would say, it would have a best practice of what the actual camera positions variables are. I'm sure high up is not a camera position. I'm sure they have more technical names than that. How about this aerial shot?
Call it a high angle.
High angle. I like that. Let's see here. High angle. And I'm going to leave the style and everything else as well. Although, I don't know how much you all have been dealing with the image generation models, but another important concept, and this is a concept across all models, is this idea of a negative prompt. Have you spoken with them about that in the past?
No, not really. No, I don't think have we generated any images in this boot camp yet? I'm not even sure.
Oh my gosh!
I think this is the moment we do that.
All right, amazing. Well, in the world of images, like you might, as you all are seeing, because the prompt syntax is just a little bit different than an LLM where you're just going to put in a big blob of text. With this, you're going to put in a kind of some very specific attributes of a caption, a potential caption for your image. And so a negative prompt is basically when you need to forcibly exclude certain things from the image. So, so you might want to make, like, even though
cats, say no cats.
Yeah, exactly. I might want to make sure there's no cats. And I'm trying to think of something that would be or build, like maybe like it's in the Swiss Alps, but I don't want there to be any little Swiss huts. So I'd say no cats and no buildings, right? And an interesting thing about the negative prompt and the way that at least I've designed it here is I'm just putting in the raw negative prompt, by the way. And so if you're ever playing with these and you see weird behavior, just know there is such thing as a double negative prompt. So if I would actually say, if I would say no cats and buildings, there would likely be cats and buildings in the image. Whereas if I say cats and buildings, that's saying please do not give me any cats and buildings.
Boot campers, Trevor does have the link publicly available. I'm not sure how easy it'd be for folks to, because you have to get your AWS account credentials probably hooked up to it, but it will be made available afterwards, as I will, as per usual, be following up with videos.
Yes,
renditions from the code base. Sorry,
absolutely. I'll make sure that there's a GitHub link, a public GitHub link available.
I found a few other terms. There's a thing called an upshot. Why don't we try an upshot out there?
I like it. Upshot. Let's go. I love a German Shepherd. Do you have pets, Andrew?
I got dachshunds.
Oh, how many dachshunds you got?
2. But they never get 2 because when one barks, the other one never stops. It's just back and forth. It's a nightmare.
We had a bunch growing up of dachshunds, and
can this do dachshunds?
I'm sure it can if I can figure out if I can spell dachshund.
D-A-A. Do we got any Germans in the house? How do we spell dachshunds? We do. We have Germans in the house.
I know it's spelled way different than it sounds. Somebody give me the
we need help in the comments here.
Let's see it. Let's see if the model can.
Dachshund. Dachshund. I'm trying to figure.
The model's like,
oh yeah, there's D-A-C-H. Yeah, D-A-C-H-S-H-U-N-D.
All right, copy pasta that.
D-A-C-H.
Okay, so wait, hold up. How far off was I? D-A-C-H. I actually think that I was only one letter off. That was pretty close. Oh no, there's an extra A in there too.
Dachshund. Right. Not dashhound. I don't know why people call it dashhound. It's just nothing. Not even close.
Where I grew up, we called them wiener dogs.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know they were called.
I got a wiener dog and a sausage dog. Yeah.
Oh, is one of them a little chubby? Yeah. Sausage
dog.
That
one's a little bit too skinny.
There we go.
Can we make it a bit fatter and make it brown and tan?
Let's see. Let's just go ahead. I don't want to be mean and call it fat. So I'm gonna call it overweight.
Overweight, brown.
Overweight dash.
You also put brown and tan in there as the
overweight
as the coat.
Brown, tan dash.
You can say thick.
Oh wait, okay, hold up.
T-H-I-C-C.
That might get too risque. I don't know if I want to see a thick. Thick. Let's see. I'm gonna be very impressed.
It doesn't matter if this is demonetized. They already have the sponsor money, so
give me a thick dachshund. Come on, I can't even see if it's thick or not. Give me a side angle, please. All right, we're gonna go overweight. Lame.
Might want to do try a down shot. Might be easier to see down shot.
Okay. Wow. Do you know camera angles?
No, I just looked it up.
Oh.
One question we did have, I'm curious too, is if you click on the question mark for camera position, does it give us some examples or? Oh.
No, I mean, I could. I know. I'm sorry.
So Trevor, did you give us? I think Trevor, you coded this, right?
I did code this, and this is what you got for descriptions. All right, I didn't overdo it on the descriptions, folks. Okay. Anywho, all right, we got a dachshund though, which I'm down with. Well, I think I'm gonna leave it on the dachshund for now. Does this look like any of your pups? Which one does it resemble?
Kind of, not really.
Not really.
Kind of, not really. No, the face is not right.
It's not quite right. The ears are a little big.
I see. Whoever trained this model, they really like German Shepherds.
The German I'm going back to German Shepherd. That's what I got up in my house. All right, and then I'm going to animate it in a second. But while it's animating, I want to talk folks through. Well, actually, if there's any question,
some people are saying like maybe wide shot, long shot.
Long shot, wide shot. Let's give it a try.
Now, I was one of the projects I was trying to make for the boot camp was I was trying to make a like kind of like a children's book for language learning. This is one way of learning, which is you have a series of images and then you have some basic text underneath it. And it's graded reading. So the idea is to slowly immerse you into a language reading level that you can handle.
Nice.
But when I was using what's the Midjourney, it was having a hard time with some of them where it's like if I had like, let's say, dogs and sheep and pigs, it would start merging the sheep and pigs together, and I could never get it to not merge them together. It was very frustrating. But
yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I was touching on this earlier. Is like image models are a great example of like let's think of 3 different image models. We might have Nova, Canvas. What's the really popular one? Stable Diffusion. It's like a really popular.
Yeah, Stable Diffusion.
And then what's the OpenAI one called?
Dolly.
Dolly, thank you. So like
DA like Dolly, like the artist. Oh, close, because it's not spelled like the name. Because for legal reasons. DALLE. There you go.
There we go.
But there's a period. I'm just kidding.
Leave me alone. All right. So like it's a really interesting point, right? Because like different models, especially image models, like they're so with the text model, it's like you actually kind of have to do some like automated testing oftentimes, or you're kind of getting the vibe of the model. With an image model, it's very visceral. Of like, if I have 3 image models generated German Shepherd, I'm probably going to have a preference for which style or like which one's better at the specific type of image I want to generate. And so what a lot of customers that are using, and when I say a lot of customers, I think when I think of image models, I think a lot about like retail. I think a lot about marketing, like advertising. Those are the sort of
I wonder if AWS would have optimized their model for that use case.
Probably so. In fact, we can go back and see what that'd be interesting to make it like a shopping.
Like we can't definitively know, but that seems like a good reasoning as to if AWS wanted to line or Amazon wanted to line it for their thing. After
totally.
that,
and you might imagine they have a lot of training data for that as well because of
all the products. Yeah,
exactly. That's a really interesting idea. Let's see what it like. If I want to buy hand soap, that's really interesting because like you're thinking about it the right way in terms of like what was the training data set. And I bet, it's like this is like a super photorealistic image of hand soap where the dog was like a little bit cartoonish. And so you're probably like, I don't know what the models are trained on. Companies don't share their training data sets publicly, but you could probably infer that as long as it's within acceptable use policy, that it was they did use some of the retail images. And I bet other products might have similar outputs. What's something you bought on Amazon recently?
That I recently purchased tile. I mean, I can just go check on my Amazon. Let's just go find out. I'm just gonna go find out and tell you in 2 seconds.
There you go.
I bought like cabinet liners. A no parking sign.
I purchased a fermentation crock, a 4-liter jar. I'm trying to make more kimchi. Okay. I don't really eat it because I can't eat the spicy stuff, but I still keep making it. But like I guess sauerkraut, if you will, but fermentation crock.
Okay.
That seems too obscure, though.
I like the no parking sign, and I'm gonna put it on a wooden fence, just because I don't even want to try to like I've already made such a spelling conundrum, trying to spell dachshund. I don't want to keep embarrassing myself here. Can we use a brand in the prompt? I'm gonna guess probably not.
Oh, can you do Kraft peanut butter?
Let's try it.
Kraft peanut butter, yeah. I'm not sure if Canadians are allowed to buy that. Kraft with a K.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry,
yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen Kraft peanut butter in the. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong image.
Well, it's made. I think it might be made in the States, where it's hard to say. Kraft used to be a Canadian company, and then I don't know. Heinz bought it, or was Heinz a Canadian company and then was bought by America? I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean Kraft. I mean, there's a lot of Kraft cheese and stuff.
You don't get Kraft peanut butter?
No,
I've never seen that in my life.
Sorry, what do you get?
Jif. Mom's like, you choose Jif, bro.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. What's Peter Pan?
Peter Pan. Justin's is like what? Yeah.
American peanut butter. For folks in this stream, do you get peanut butter where you live? Because peanut butter is not everywhere. Like when I lived in Spain, No peanut butter. Where was it?
Really?
Yeah.
That's so sad because peanut butter is. It's just one of those staples.
Our European friends, do you have peanut butter? I mean, like every day, like almost every day, I have a peanut butter sandwich for lunch. But you know what I do, which is a bit unusual, is I'll put Tabasco sauce in it.
Ooh, wait,
Yeah.
peanut butter and
Tabasco sauce. Well, why not? Like you ever had peanuts Thai? Like Thai, it's spicy peanut butter. What you can do that for your lunch. Well, I do a little quite a few odd things.
That's nice. I'll have to give that a try. No, I mean now that you're mentioning it, yeah, I've had like some nice Thai food that was like a little peanut and spice. But like when you say peanut butter and Tabasco, I didn't register it that way.
I mean, like it's three things. It's spice. Like if you want to make a satay, it's just peanut butter, something sweet, something spicy, right? But another weird thing I do is like I have oatmeal in the morning. Otomiru. This is the Japanese way to say oatmeal. But I sometimes I put kimchi in it, or I put a tea bag in it, or I put grated Parmesan regano or whatever. So yeah, who wants to come over for breakfast at my place?
I'll give it a shot. So I mean, it did generate
crunchy as crunchy as the stream is saying. That's actually what I have. I always get crunchy. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. I'm a crunchy peanut butter person myself. But I mean, it's what's interesting is they definitely have the essence of the Kraft logo. It's not exactly the Kraft logo, but
that's actually really good because normally logos are like text and logos are awful. But I'm actually surprised it was even able to, first of all, put all the right letters in there, and then the second part was actually it kind of has the shape, which is very impressive.
We'll do one more while we're waiting, but yeah, I mean, I think that the point of this kind of tangent that we're going on. Oh, can't spell GIF. Are you kidding me?
You lost me at cheese.
Is that like different models are good at generating different things, and so what a lot of organizations will do that are building an application that needs to generate a very diverse set of images is they'll have. It's called different things. I've heard it called. There's a component that people will put inside, like as a logical step inside of their app. Mm-hmm. I've heard it called an LLM gateway. I've also heard it called a model router.
Yeah, model router is the term I normally hear.
Yeah, and it's a really it's a fairly simple idea of like if I have a prompt, like whatever's in that prompt. Let's say in this time I wanted to generate some peanut butter. And maybe Nova is really good at peanut butter, but Dolly is really good at humans, right? Then based on the prompt, in this case, I could have some logic or even sometimes a smaller LLM running inside the gateway that will route a prompt to whichever model it thinks is going to be best for that given use case. So if I have a prompt that says peanut butter, maybe I would send it to Nova because I believe it's better at that class of object. But if the prompt said some type of human being, we might send it to Dolly because we ran benchmarks and saw that it was better at.
I haven't used it in Bedrock, but I believe they have a model router, don't they?
There is a model router feature in Bedrock. Yeah.
Like not necessarily works this way, but I think like it will choose the most appropriate text-based.
Yeah,
text-based.
There's two today, and one thing I don't know because I've only personally built on custom model routers.
Yeah,
let's dig in here and take a look. What I'm always curious of is what. Yeah, so like but here's what's interesting about this is that it will. Yeah, you nailed it. The Anthropic router routes to Anthropic models, where I bet the Meta router is the same, and that's okay. But like, generally speaking, like what I've seen, the pattern that customers are looking for are routers that can route between different families of models.
So you get different capabilities, right? Not necessarily. I mean, of course, if you want to save money, then staying with the same family, going down a level makes sense. But if you're looking for mixed capabilities to get maximum creativity out of your output, then those are two different means of routing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see. Sorry.
Exactly. I mean, but I guess one really here's a really cool use case for let's say, for example, I'll go back for like just the Anthropic router. So like Anthropic, like in most providers these days, especially when it comes to their text and understanding or like general intelligence models, they tend to drop them in like sets of 3 and 4 as people have started to see. And so what's really nice about that, like something like the Anthropic router, is if you're using, so like, let's say, and I could have the parameters wrong, right? But let's say Anthropic has 3 models with different sets of parameters. So let's say they have an 80 billion, actually it's probably way bigger than 80. Let's call it like a 500 billion parameter model called that's Opus. Let's say Sonnet is 20 billion. Again, I don't think I have the parameters right.
I was looking up how much it takes to run a 7 billion parameter model, and it's like, what was it, like 300 T-flops or so? It was just
it's insane.
Flops. It was just insane if you want to do it at home, right?
Yeah.
You know, you need either a 50. I think I was looking it up. I was talking to the bootcampers, but like obviously Intel's your sponsor, so if you had a Gaudi processor, you could do it. I think I was looking at the cost. I'm not sure if it was like $15,000 or $20,000 for it, but then when you went over to the NVIDIA side, it was like 50,000, 70,000. So it's like you either go the Intel side, but then you don't know what level of support you have for models. But if you know exactly what model you want, you can run it.
Yep.
Or you pay a lot more and you can run any kind of model, but it's really freaking expensive.
Yeah, so, definitely. I think we're going to see that continue to all, and it's cost is part of it. I guess cost is driven by supply and demand, and there's just so much demand for the NVIDIA chips right now that they can, the price for those versus like the probably the Intel chips. I know Amazon released something called Trainium 2 at reInvent.
I don't even know how to use those. I think I even asked them. I'm like, how do I at reInvent? I was like, how do I work with these? And they're like, because
it's simple.
They've been around for a long time though. Oh, not a long time. I mean, like not like years and years, like not 10 years, but they've been here for a few years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you use them and it's basically like there's just it's very similar to like running NVIDIA clusters, but instead of using CUDA, there's an SDA called Neuron, but it's like very similar syntactically to CUDA. But what a lot of customers will do is they'll basically, because it's most easy to find training and orchestration code for NVIDIA integrated with their AI SDKs. And so a lot of people will like translate that into Neuron, but it's basically, if you want to use Inferentia or Trainium, you really have to start by learning the Neuron kit, unless of course you're using it like within Bedrock, because within Bedrock it's it will.
Or you just mean the fact that the model is, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, like it's abstracted from you, right? Like you're not thinking about it, but I know like a lot of the Nova models and some of the Claude models are run on those chips.
I'm thinking with these AI accelerators though, it's like because it's not like a GPU, it's an NPU, right? So there has to be some kind of model conversion, and I'm guessing probably with Tritanium and Infrared. I have them in slides and I say I'm right in there, but I'm guessing that they are just cost saving, right? Like AI, like these AI accelerators is all about cost saving versus GPU.
Well, it's actually been it's a great thing. I think what initially, and this was pre-reInvent 2024, yes, the story for Inferentia and Trainium was completely focused on price performance, and frankly, a lot of it is actually not just price performance, because you can think of price performance as like almost one-to-one with energy consumption, right? So it's not just price, it's also energy, and a lot of people know that the generally speaking GPUs are pretty power hungry devices. And then this is a piece that I'll say, like what the way that AWS positions Trainium is, and this is like kind of deeper in the science than I personally have gone, is like, I guess there's something about when you're training or running big inference clusters that they point out it's not necessarily the size of the chip that matters, it's the size of the instance or the machine that's plugged into a various number of chips. And as I understand, the Trainium nodes themselves are just like capable of much larger instance sizes, and so you can get more flops on them than a lot of comparable node types.
Okay.
Now, I said a lot of words, and I wonder
if they're talking about like VRAM and stuff like that. So a lot of the times, like you have you have shared memory, and you have the actual memory that is right beside the chip, and so you have to hold it all within memory, right? And then you also have to hold the prompt in memory as well. So, but anyway, just fun to talk about. I'm always trying to get more deeper onto the hardware side to understand, like, if you did want to run it, what is feasible. I do think
people need to get. I think like going forward, like, like myself, I bet maybe you're the same. Like I started with GenAI. I would describe myself as more like initially as like an AI developer, where like you're just kind of learning how to prompt, how to use tools, how to string AI systems together. But with the drop of, specifically with the drop of the DeepSeek model, the industry is much more. Companies in the industry is starting to consider, because DeepSeek was apparently trained on such a light budget, comparable to like other foundations. Supposedly, you know, who I guess I don't know what the most authoritative source on that is.
Me, apparently. I was just no, really. I was on the Intel podcast talking about DeepSeek, because the thing was is that really is that they were talking about the cost of training being significantly cheaper, and so it turns out it wasn't, right. They actually did train them on a fleet of GPUs, but where it can save money supposedly is on the inference side, right?
Yes.
So maybe like even if you're not retraining it, or if you do have to train at a high cost, now the cost of inference is lower. You don't need as many GPUs to run it.
Well,
right?
That's right. The cost of inference, and then specifically though, it was for some of the models, the training technique that they used, which is now like a generally available technique. The technique is called distillation, which is basically where you're able to like. So if you think about,
it's not a new technique, Trevor. It's just that they I think they kind of paved way for it, and people saw that they did it right.
We'll call it a newly popularized technique.
There we go. That's the word. Yeah.
I think that distillation was supported on Bedrock as of reInvent, and I think other like you've been able to do it like self-hosted for a while. Mm-hmm. But take a model like Claude 3.5, right? It's a general purpose model, so it's really good at like a lot of things. Like you wouldn't say it's really good at everything, but it's really good at like most things you expect an LLM to be good at. But with distillation and like some small tweaks to the models themselves, you can take a model like imagine like here's the best way I can describe it is like imagine the models are like let's go back to Street Fighter or like some combat game where like you have different stat sliders, and let's imagine that here
that was Banjo's demo. That's exactly what his demo was.
Well, that's amazing. So let's say like there's actually let's say I'll make it more industry focused. So like let's say that 3.7 is really good at medical, legal, and finance things. Like so let's say you start with Claude, just a base model, and it's really good at these three tasks. But like let's say I'm a medical company and I don't actually care if the model's good at legal or finance. With distillation, effectively this is a oversimplification, but I could go to the model and say like do a small retraining job, make it worse at legal and finance, but make it significantly better at medical type things simply by running distillation, which you can really automate a lot of. And the other big benefit of distillation is that what we see a lot of customers able to do is after distilling a model, it's like let's say you in theory you were going to distill Opus, you could actually generally do like higher level tasks on smaller models, meaning that you can really chop your latency down significantly without having a trade-off on the actual reasoning or intelligence capabilities. So I think distillation, like all this is back to what you said of like skilling up on kind of like the hardware and infrastructure side of AI. I think distillation is how a lot of people will start to get more familiar with that, because it's so much easier to distill a model than it is to train or fine tune a model. And I think this will be a lot of folks' first introduction to actually running some sort of training job on an LLM.
Trevor's making me do distillation next week now.
Hey, it's cool.
It's going to create the demand for it. Sorry.
No, do it. Do some distillation, and a distillation job is not so expensive to run either, which is nice. Where a fine tuning job can add up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on what kind of fine tuning job. But anyway, in Canada, there's an old PSA back in the late '90s, early '90s, and it was about the house hippo. Do you know about the house hippo?
I've never heard of the house hippo.
Never heard of house hippos.
No.
And so it's a very well known.
Andrew's teaching us a lot today.
Folks don't know much about Canada. Nick, you're gonna tell me you don't know who Pokeroo is? The house hippo. It's a real PSA that played all the time, and the idea was talking about this house hippo that lives in your house. and it's basically talking about it. And the end of it tries to say like, hey, don't believe everything you see on TV. But the takeaway of all those kids are like, I want a house hippo.
Yeah.
So you can see there, like, there's a house hippo there on the Wikipedia page, and it's really tiny in your kitchen, pushing trash around. So
you know about house hippos, Shayla?
No, but now I'm like the kids. I want a house hippo.
I know. It's kind of cute.
What about Pokeroo? You know Pokeroo too, right?
No.
Pokeroo I knew because you showed it to us.
The third one there, Pokeroo, from the polka dot door. There's that was on, like, we have our, I'm not sure what they have. What's the public PBS in the States? In Canada, ours was called TVO. And so Pokeroo was there to teach all the kids every week. But there's a unlicensed version of Pokeroo called Tokaroo. You can kind of guess what Tokaroo does.
Okay, I have an idea.
When we were legalizing something in Canada, Tokaroo appeared. TVO was not happy about that.
Congrats on that, by the way. So I don't know about house hippos, but I'm a big consumer of TikTok, and I'm kind of up on this. It's a little niche, but there's this guy, and he makes these little singing videos, and he's got this little guy called Drippo the hippo, and Drippo the hippo is like a rapping hippo, and he's pretty lit. I would check him out. But that's what your house hippo made me think of.
I mean, it looks just like, well, it just looks like a dressed up house hippo to me. But
yeah, it's just it is just a dressed up house hippo with a tie dye. Okay, folks, we got sidetracked here for a little bit. Can you see the full screen dog right now?
Yep.
All right, cool. Because it messed up my share screen. Listen, while we were chatting there, another thing I did with one of those dog images I wanted to show the folks here is, I passed the image into a video generation model, right? So with a video,
we were buying people time here. That's what we were doing.
Yeah, it's a 5-minute demo or something like that. Okay, here we go. So you can see, I got my little German Shepherd, and he's just trotting along.
Photorealistic, right. Can't even tell.
Yeah. Oh my God, is this a real German Shepherd right now, folks? Look at the. This
reminds me of the end of Homeward Bound.
I like it. He's walking off the screen too. Anyway, the point is, actually, I don't know what the point is. I just thought it'd be cool to add a button to do that. I think that's actually the point. It's like, if I got an image, I may as well. I wonder if I animate the peanut butter, what it'll do.
Yeah, go for it. The in my when I was doing GenAI for seniors in my town a few weeks ago, I took old timey photos and animated them. And I kept running into issues where the prompt would do really ridiculous things. So first I was like, all right, there's an old timey like shop with a car. Make the car drive off. And the car, the first thing it did is just like drove backwards, like straight off. And the next time it drove, it drove, but there's nobody in the car. Do you know what I mean? It was very funny, but you have to be very particular about your directions for video prompting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So it sounded like it gave you like a ghost riding the whip car. What I'm hearing.
I generated those up with. Oh, serious? Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's all good. I was gonna say when we share the code out, it'll actually, even though my descriptions aren't so good underneath the question marks, I just remembered that we cross-linked it to instructions. So if y'all are trying to optimize your prompt, there you go.
Boy,
at least I have the documentation.
Was that a stock photo generated?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's really good.
Yeah.
Can we try that?
Yeah, I mean, if I haven't tried good prompting, right? So like let's actually. Like,
the reason why is because I want to see if I can make a visual novel, right? Like the visual novel video game.
Sure.
And so I have to try to generate a person. And so if that literally that works, assuming we get the prompt right,
I mean, I'm just going to copy and paste.
Doesn't mean it will work as expected. But I find it's not specific with this, but I find like sometimes it takes a lot of prompts to get what you want with any model.
Yeah. It's why like Midjourney always gives you 4 images, right? It's because like the likelihood of the first one being exactly what you want is pretty low.
Videos even more so. Like you see people, I'm sure people know this by now, but if you see like on Twitter a video that seems very impressive, they probably made like 100 videos to get that one. Like seriously.
I think
kind of thought prompting.
I have a bug in my app. Let me fix it. I get if it's generating the video, it's like gonna lock to the. Here we go.
A Zeppelin flying in New York skies. That sounds like Man the High Castle kind of stuff there. Well, actually, that'd probably be that'd be World War II. That wouldn't make sense. Big challenge is getting a whole series of consistent images for the same character model. For model consistency, I could probably show that off if I have time, but there's a way to do that with ControlNet in locally with Comfy UI. As I've been investing quite a bit of time. The reason I was looking at that was for specifically this, but that looks really good. The only problem is, like, as Philippe has pointed out, is consistency might be a challenge. Where, like, this will generate an image, but it doesn't. There's no control net behind this thing. There's no pose model behind it. So you have to accept the limitations for this managed service. But still, really, really good.
Well, I mean, there are a few things you can do to control. Like to give you more control and like slightly more deterministic images. And like, I think one is like, I think probably what you're describing, which is like some system of checks. So like, if you think about it, like, in fact, if you think about once an image is generated, like, of course, one option is to immediately return it to the user. Another option would be to put that image into an LLM or like a multimodal text model. And since a multimodal model can analyze an image, I have seen instances where, to make sure that you're getting a consistent set of images, you generate the image, and then before returning it to the user, you analyze the image with another model and validate that it meets some requirements that you have, and then you can retry the generation. That's one way to add some controllability. Another option is, like, because this is an image model, like, I'm putting in only text, but some image models allow you to put in other images, and that kind of grounds the future images you generate to a certain style or a certain artwork.
I guess, but for character consistency, character consistency is a very, very specific thing, and I would say I would not be surprised if it wasn't able to consistently generate character, but generally a scene, right? I think that it or some. I'm just saying, there's probably some variation in terms of or limitations as to what it can do. But but even for the use case that I want to use for this is fine, because if I'm doing an immersion app, I just generate them out. I just gotta not have the person in another scenario, and it's totally fine.
Let me, we could try something to kind of test this out.
Oh, the image feature?
Yeah, I could, even though I don't have it in my code.
We're going off script, folks.
I can. I'm just going to turn on the image model, and here's what I want to know is, like, let's say we're happy with. Like, were you thinking a cartoon character or a realistic character? First,
you know what? I was gonna do whatever. Like, I try to do anime, but it's so hard to generate anime images often.
Okay.
But if you want to try, you can. But we could go with realistic if it's just more consistent. I mean,
I'll try
for learning immersion. For learning immersion, it could just be realistic. It doesn't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Negative problem, hands. Yeah, don't show the hands, because they don't have. Number one thing is, like, just don't show hands, and everything will be easy.
No hands, no spaghetti, and you're gonna make some progress. All right, I kind of like this. I'm gonna see if this seems like a simple enough animated picture of somebody that I'm.
Oh, but you wrote animated. What if you put anime?
Oh, anime. Okay, let's see.
With an E.
Oh, jeez.
Anima. And we can even put like comma manga.
All right, let me see how it does anime, just as a starting point.
That's okay.
I don't hate that.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's actually better than I've seen better, but I'm just saying that's pretty good considering.
Yeah, and I didn't try to optimize it, although it did give me hands, even though I told it not to.
Can you put like comma manga? Yeah, manga. A on the end there, manga.
Here we go.
Shala wants some swords in there, doesn't she?
Yeah, I was also gonna say for anime ones, I have had good experience with using Photoshops.
Photoshop?
Yeah, they do great anime, actually.
The generator?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I pay for it, so I can give it a try.
Like a lot of my LinkedIn articles, and you see like an anime cover photo, it's Photoshop generation.
Like
Really?
the Firefly thing, or
No,
Photoshop.
well, it could be, but it's just like built right inside of Photoshop now, where you could just generate images based on the prompt.
I'm opening Photoshop right now. We're gonna see if we can put this to the test. 1 second here. So I'm gonna go. Trevor, can you just generate me like a background?
Let me try. My app is failing me all of a sudden here. I don't know if I've got a space in one of these. Give me a second.
Because I'm thinking like maybe I can just for fun see if I can generate a person here. I'm gonna make a what's it?
Oh, interesting. Okay, I see. I'm getting blocked by a content filter now.
Maybe because the person's in there?
Maybe, but I was able to generate some people before. I wonder what it is.
Maybe just take out the word anime because like
yeah,
anime, anime can
it can go a little
Anime can go an odd way. So maybe they're thinking you're trying to make something.
It's very possible actually. No, I wonder what. It could also be that I'm getting rate limited now because I've generated so many. Let me take a look. I'll come back to it, but I think I did download one of these images, so I'll at least pull that one up here.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna take over while you're fixing that up, and I'm going to grab a background here, setting here. So I'm gonna just shrink here. Oops, sorry, here, shrink here, and I'm gonna go and share my screen if that's okay. Folks, can you see my screen? I think you can. And so what I'm looking for is some kind of setting like a background. Well, I guess I could try to generate one out. I'm not sure how well Photoshop does backgrounds, but I'm gonna try and say generate fill here, and I'm gonna say classroom background. You can generate in new ways with yes, I know that. That's why I'm doing it, but we'll see how that does. First I'm just trying to get the background in. The next thing we'll add a character and see how well it works.
And then I'm trying to think. Sorry? Oh, sorry. And then too, I'm trying to think, depending on how it popped up for you, there's a way where you can tell it what style you want to use. And so like it has like an anime style or other different styles. And that's how I get it to work really well.
Give me a prompt. When I can't think of a prompt, I just ask it for something here. Oh, that's way too much. Well, I'm going to try it anyway. When you say these styles, do you mean like in the prompt? That's what you do?
Yeah, it's like in the click on the 3 dots, where you would type. Yeah, the 3 dots over there.
Sure. I'm just going to grab this one more time here.
Yeah.
And I mean, this one has way too much information in it, but I'm going to paste it in here anyway. And let's click the 3 dots.
Let's see. Where is it? Yours looks a little bit different from mine.
Yeah.
Go ahead and regenerate.
I'll try this here. We'll see what we get. But the only problem with this is like, even if it works, if I want to programmatically do it, I can't. Although that's pretty good. Is that a class? Well, that's fine. That looks okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here and I want to generate a person. So like, what would you do as an anime prompt if we had a person here? Like, what do you normally write, Shala?
I'm thinking for there, I'm thinking more of a K-drama. I'm trying to think. I don't know, like a anime character, with swords. Like, they're looking over the city about to go fight something.
I'm gonna go back over to here. I'm just gonna go say, can you now write me the prompt, the image prompt to generate the person that would appear in the visual novel, not the exclude background in the prompt, since this person will be on another layer, obviously anime. And yes, people are probably watching me like, why am I spelling all these things wrong? I just don't care. High school girl, gotta be careful when we're generating out. Can we make it a guy? Sorry, folks. These prompts are dangerous, so I gotta Unfortunately, I think actually Gloria had made a really good it was last year a post about like how these models are biased in terms of their generation, and so some of these things can be highly sexualized when they shouldn't be. So I'm just doing that because this is going to go online. I don't want to have trouble with it. I'm sure Photoshop should be fine, but who knows what kind of guardrails they put in these things. Photoshop's for editing everything, folks. So I've actually never tried to do any risque prompts in here. That's okay. At least we got more than one option, right? Yeah. Do you get better than this? Like you get better, right?
Yeah, I do. Let me see if I can find one
of a modern visual novel. I think it's like a literal novel. That's what I think the problem is. So if I go back over to here, you make it less of visual novel and more of anime. You literally have a prompt that makes it look like a book, right? Let's see if we kind of help it here. And so I'll try this one more time. Again, this is just, no, I don't even say this is optimal. I don't even know what's optimal. This just seems too crazy for the prompt to be good. This requires a lot of playing around with. And if you don't have the patience, then it doesn't always turn out good. We'll try this one more time here. Ninja with sword in hand, ready for revenge. I mean, we could do that. I'm not sure what I'd get if I did that, but
it seems like a good prompt.
Yeah, there we go. I guess this is the best I'm gonna get. They just don't have any eyes. Like I guess they kind of do, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's not bad. Like I could still make a game with this, but it would seem like the prompt that came out of what do you call it? Nova I actually liked more than this one, but it's still okay. It's just I don't. But I can go in here and I can do more edits. It's just more work. I'd be like, like make the eyes more anime, right? Give it actual anime eyes.
And then I shared
you got a
private link. Yeah, I shared a private link, and that is an image that I created in Photoshop first try. And because I love anime, so
it's not the tool, it's the person writing the prompt, and clearly I need Shala's help. But you got to save those prompts. Oh my god. This feels like this here. This feels like what do you call it?
It's giving me Sailor Moon.
No, I'm thinking like Speed Racer.
Yeah, yes. I can see that.
Those are nice. Those are nice.
But I mean, that's starting to kind of look like closer to yours. But I mean, the prompt you got was how many times? The first you said first shot.
Mm-hmm.
You got to share your prompts here.
I can literally. I want to say, what prompt did I use for that? I think it was just something like looking at it. I was like, you know what? I told it. Yeah, I was like anime girl, like standing in like a futuristic server room with some brand new secret weapon, and that's what spit out.
Sorry, say it one more time. But you said manga or anime in it?
No, I didn't even put anime. It's I don't see it on yours, but there's a way where you can tell it to use the style. Oh, I think I know what I want you to do. If you can, on Photoshop, I want you to like close this and we're going to open up a new window, or you can keep it because I don't want you to lose it.
Oh, I don't care. If you could... we'll just save this real quick.
Okay.
I'll save this to the cloud in 1 second here. So we'll go here and say, by the way, the card here, I used a combination of Midjourney and Photoshop to generate out. It took a lot of work there. We'll go ahead and save, let's see, visual. Now, the only problem again with this is that this is only one time. I can't continuously use it, and there's no API. So I want to be able to programmatically do it. But anyway, what can we do here?
Okay, so close like that. Yeah, so, bring up the window where, like, if you're going to start something new.
Okay.
Yes, and go to art maybe. I wonder, have you updated your Photoshop? Like, has it been updated?
Let's go find out. Creative Cloud.
Okay, because yeah, it looks different from mine.
Everyone, just get your Photoshop subscription if you want to follow. Like, obviously, Photoshop is really expensive, but we're just trying to show the capabilities of it. That's all. Just because says I don't even have Photoshop installed. Are you crazy? It's right here. That's my problem. I don't have Photoshop installed. So I don't know. What version do you have? Like I go here and this is,
let me
it should be
see.
the latest. Sometimes it does open the wrong version. So
I have Photoshop 2025.
So I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go Photoshop again. No, that's 2025.
Yeah.
But apparently I don't have it installed.
That was weird. Okay, and then go to try art and illustration.
Well, there's also this option under here. If you go to, where is it here? If we select here, there's a thing called filters, and we have like the neuro filters.
Oh, I think I might see it now on your generate. Oh, it went away. The generate was at the bottom, but now.
Oh,
okay.
So before you even click it, there's options.
Yeah, like what's that button?
Modify selection, invert selection, create mask, fill selection, create adjustment, generate fill.
Yeah, because there's a way where I'm able to select style, and that's how I get it to do anime without me even telling it.
Really? Adobe Anime Style Generate. Why don't I get it?
Let me open up mine.
All right. And oh yeah, if let me go back here for a second here. I lost the window. Where's our StreamYard here? And oh, sorry. So Trevor, any luck?
Oh yes. Well, I mean, some luck. I also got sidetracked, but the app is back. The app's not dead anymore. And I took somebody had a prompt from the chat about a ninja, and I decided to put that in there. And it's not half bad. Not half bad. But no, you know what? I actually was mistaken on something I was mentioning earlier. I thought that we could use, and I did some research, and I'll tell folks what I learned. I thought that what we could do is use, because I'd seen this attribute before, but I'd never actually used it, something called a conditioning image. And I actually thought the conditioning image was like a grounding image to say, like, make the image similar to this. But then I read the doc, and it actually turns out the conditioning image is just the same like layout and composition, not the same subject of the image. So to your point, like at least as far as I can tell with this particular model, you could animate an image with like the real model, but unlike what is it, like I'm pretty sure on, what is the one that's in Discord, Midjourney, that you can have an input image to kind of ground the art based off.
Well, I do have Midjourney, so like which I don't know, the thing is Midjourney has changed and they now have like another tier. And so I don't know if like I'll show here. I'm not sure if everything is normal here. But see, I was trying to generate this. So this is me trying to generate questions. And then this is I was talking about where I said generate. I was trying to make a book, like a children's book. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen.
You are not?
Yeah, over here, I'm in Midjourney, right? So you can do it in Discord, but you can do it here as well. But you can see like I said, chicken and pigs, detailed ballpoint pen from an animal group, white background, blue ink drawing, natural poses, realistic animals. It just like would not stop trying to put things together. Like, what is that? What is this? Like, this is without the dog, right? So I was just trying to like, there would be a dog with a dog supposed to be looking after chickens and pigs, right? But then it's just like, what is this? So, but yeah, I mean, like, I think here you can put a source image. So if we go, I'm gonna think of an anime that I like. I really like. I'm not like huge into anime, but there's some very particular ones that I like Legends of the Galactic Heroes. I love this thing, and it has over 100 episodes. It's really boring and really dry. There's no what is it called? Tsundares. What's a tsundere? It's a stereotypical character. Boot campers were talking about it. But if we go here, I'm just trying to see if I can find maybe an image like this one. So here's an example of the original style from the 80s. It has its own little unique look that I like to it. Some people say it's ugly, but I kind of got used to it. So I'm going to go feed in that there. And I'm just curious if it can even do what we think it can do here. So we go back over to here, and I'll pull this up, and we will drop in the source image. drop in the source image here. And I wonder if that was enough for me to do it. But we'll say a man in a classroom teaching the class behind, standing in front of a blackboard. Terrible prompt. Let's see if it picks it up easily. What's weird is like when it generates it out, it actually is generating, but I gotta go back here. And then, oh, did it not? What is it doing? It's generating 0 of 1. Here it goes. And as you see, it did perfect style transfer. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I have to do to get it to work, but yeah, there's something that might be able to do it. Might be too hard for me. Oh, Shala, did you ever find that option?
I did. Okay, you want to try it again?
Well, so you think you can guide me through it real quick?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so at the bottom of your toolbar on the left where it has all the tools at the very bottom, click that.
What's that?
And
I've
then
never seen this.
Yeah, so go to style, I think, or go to effects. It's effects. But you also have that. And then anime. That's what I like at the top.
Oh.
That's what I do. And then I just put my words up there, and that's how I got that image.
All right.
And then style. Okay, well, I'll just try it for fun real quick. We'll say it generates based on the selection, right? Not the whole thing. So I'm going to go here. I'll go back to my original file here that we just had, this one. And we'll get out our ugly interface here. I'm just going to put this in a folder and then hide it. And so, wait, does it change the background too? I told it not to, but it generated out the background around it, which is bizarre. So I'm going to go here and we'll make a new layer and we'll drag this out like this. We will go, we'll go here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go back to our Claude prompt here, wherever it was. I think it was here. And we have this, right? So I want to grab some of this out because we don't need all. A teenage boy in blouse with distinct hair, has spiky elements. He's wearing a black uniform and angled. So this is the description of it. And then here is trying to describe how it's supposed to look, right? So I'm just going to grab this part here only. I'm going to go back over to here. We're going to drop it on in. And it says art, photo. I'm not sure.
That I never click.
I
leave it unchecked. No, I just click on anime.
I'm doing what you're doing.
And then it just does the things.
We'll go ahead. I might have made this person too tall, but we'll see here in a second. I wonder if it'll incorporate the background as it does this. Andrew, you don't have to use Discord to make images, but you still can use Discord. It's up to you. Oh, I see. Okay. We're talking about Mid-Journey. You know what? I think I actually prefer it in Discord because I'm so used to using it there now that I might go back there. It took over the whole screen, which is fine.
What do you say? Transparent background. But yeah, and there you go, though.
I mean, the results are definitely better, right? We have more options, but I don't understand why it didn't generate in that area. Let me go here. We'll do this one more time. I'll try art this time. We'll say anime. And you can give it a reference image. Ooh. I'll bring in that 1 second here. We'll bring in on my desktop Legends of the Galactic's Heroes. Okay. Confirm. Yes, I have rights to use it, of course. I don't know what it said, but I assume. Look, I'm looking for that payday from Adobe. Make an LLM app to just try to. Nope. But I mean, still, like, it looks good. It's just I'm not sure about that one, but well, let's see something down here. Yeah, well.
So yeah, what I haven't tried doing is how you're doing it, where it just does it like in the little selection. Because I'm usually just trying to like make a quick cover photo for like an article.
I think what I'd have to do is you'd have to first create the size that you want, like this, and then generate it there and then bring it over. But anyway, we'll go back to Trevor here. We've kind of like gone way too far into the Photoshop. I have something no boot camper can use.
I mean, I think it was interesting to see. Like, I actually have never used those features of Photoshop. I've just seen like the demos on YouTube. So it was actually nice to see them in real time and like know that people actually use them. It's not just like a demo at an Adobe conference or whatever.
But yeah, it's just but anyway, it does. The thing is, like, I want to be able to do this programmatically. So I kind of wonder, like, can I generate backgrounds separately in Nova? Like, obviously we can, but the background separately and the person separately, and then how would they integrate them together? But let's take a look at that image that you generated out here. That looks very cinematic.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm just taking stuff from the chat, but I think and I actually definitely want to see that animated. I hope if it doesn't swing the sword, I'm gonna be mad. I'll be real mad. One thing that we were touching on a little bit ago that I wanted to pop back to is the use of like while this is generating image and we spend a lot of time on images, like certainly that's an interesting function that you can do a lot of creative work with, especially. But an area that is adjacent to these image generation models are and something that I've seen get real rapid widespread adoption across enterprise customers is using Nova Pro and Nova Lite and Nova Micro, actually, which I don't have a selector for here, specifically because of a few attributes of the models I'll share in a minute to do image analysis or image processing, which is like a prior to foundation models where, for example, you can, and I'll just make it simple for folks, you can go in, pass in.
So, sorry, in the comments, they're Ninja playing Fruit Ninja game.
Okay, all right.
I don't say you have to do that, but I'm just saying, like, it's funny.
All right, I'm going to upload quickly one of the images that we've been playing with so far. I think they started with a G. Here we go. And I'm just having, I'm keeping it simple. Oh, actually, I'll add one thing. Explain this image, return in JSON format. This model isn't always perfect at returning in JSON format, but we'll see if it will. And I passed in, by the way, this image from earlier. Actually, I created this one while we were chatting, but one of the animated teacher images. And okay, so you could like this is not so difficult to understand and process, right? But as I put an image in and ask it to analyze it, I can get attributes of that image in a very specific format that can be used upstream. And like I would say a really common, like there's a few ways that customers will use this data. A common way I've seen it used is to do like image search, because all of this now becomes metadata that I can use to create some search system. I've also seen it used quite a bit when it comes to like if you're a company, so like folks have probably signed up for an app. Maybe it's like a financial services app or like some medical thing where you need to upload an image of your driver's license. I've seen organizations use image models like this to extract data from driver's licenses and validate that the information matches what you put into the website or do some like customer onboarding. So I always like to highlight this because maybe to some people this is obvious, but to me, once I saw a model returning attributes of an image in JSON, it clicked in my mind all of the potential images for language models outside of text generation that are related to really just understanding the images specifically in the world around us. Did that with Comprehend. Yeah, that's right, Mike. So like previously we would do it with Comprehend. I think generally the LLMs, I think I haven't seen direct benchmarks, but they've gotten really good to the point where I don't see folks using, I'm not using Comprehend as much. And then if I go back to something we were discussing earlier, the benchmarks, probably one of the biggest strengths of these Nova models is the price performance. And so if you think about a document processing use case, like it can be quite an expensive endeavor. if you're analyzing like large numbers of images at once. And so having a small model or a cost-effective model for these sort of things can be quite nice. That's an actual lab in AWS verifying a license. That's cool. If you have the lab, share it in the chat, Mike, so folks can check it out. But yeah, verifying a driver's license or even creating a data set from a corpus of images. And he's not going to swing the sword. What a shame. We got a sword jiggle, at least.
Something going on with the hand though, but
yeah, what's he got in that hand? Oh yeah, something there towards the end.
He pulled out fingers out of his
sleight of hand. Yeah, it's like a sleight of hand magic trick with the fingers.
But yeah, I've had tons and tons of, not specifically with this, but like just video generation, getting them to do anything that I want them to do, anything. It's been incredibly hard, especially if you go try to do 2D anime. I was trying to make like an anime intro along with the thing for the boot camp, and just like nearly impossible. And I went like, there are ways of doing it, but it's just like, it's so hard to get the results that you want. You might as well just pay someone to draw the frames and get what you want here. But
I don't think this model was trained on Fruit Ninja. We gave it Ninja playing the Fruit Ninja game. So confirmed, not trained on Fruit Ninja data.
But you know, I think when you start mixing things together, that's where you get, like, you know, with the pigs and the sheep or whatever,
yeah,
the ducks.
Yeah.
But if there's like a single thing, pigs in a blanket. Pigs literally in a blanket.
Okay.
No, it's fine. Those are really tasty. I really like. There's something in England they have. It's like a sausage that's like that. What do they call those? It's not pigs in a blanket, because that's a hot
sausage
dog.
roll.
Sausage rolls. I love sausage rolls. Love sausage rolls. Can we get a? Just because I'm hungry, can we get an image of a sausage roll here and see what we get?
I'm hungry too. I'm gonna eat right after this.
I'm gonna eat right after class Q&A, and then right after the Spanish after class Q&A, and then right after I record a bunch of videos.
Maybe because I'm trying to put all these things in an Apple store.
I don't got payday bars beside me this boot camp. Couldn't order them this time. You got too expensive for some reason. Some reason the bars got more expensive.
Yeah, you're rocking these. This is your.
I like paydays. I just like. I like. Well, it's an American bar, right? So I got to order it in. But I like nuts, like peanuts. Yeah.
What about we think about a Babe Ruth? Those are classic.
Well, those are really good. Yeah, we don't get those up here. So those are, when I go to the States, I'll get a Payday and a Babe Ruth. But the bar that I eat up here in Canada, my wife thinks they're terrible. I love them. They're called Eatmores. Eatmores. Yeah, right. I love those. And so it's like,
it's like it looks pretty dense.
Yeah, I like them.
Chewy, huh?
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I like them anyway. So they're, I can't make them. There's no way to replicate them, but that's probably my favorite. I really like Paydays, but if I had to eat something else, it'd be Eatmore. Those are really, really good. And they're very cheap in Canada too, surprisingly. Like compared to other bars. You get a Snickers or a Mars, it's like two times the cost. These things are really cheap. Wunder bars are really cheap in Canada too, but they're really good. Have you ever had a Wunder bar?
No, but you're teaching me so much.
They're so good. They're incredible. They're really, really good.
I mean, it sounds German. This must be a German candy,
nope,
right?
It's a Canadian bar.
It's Cadbury.
But it's definitely wonderful. Yeah, but like in the Canadian market, right? So
yeah.
They might have a European one under a different name. I'm not sure. The war is economic. Yeah. Yeah, Jessica knows that I'm alluding to here. Yeah. Eatmore looks like a chocolate fudge with the nuts. It kind of is like a chocolate fudge. I wouldn't say it's exactly that, but it's something like that. Das is wunderbar. Yeah, that's basically probably what they say in the ad. It looks like the Crunchy from the UK. Crunchy from the UK. Can we see? We're not even just looking at chocolate bars now. That is not a sausage roll, but well, hold on. The exterior crust looks correct.
It looks, kind of looks like a little croissant-y, like very flaky and buttery.
Yeah, but the inside's a hot dog. That'd be like an American. That would be like American style.
It is like a interesting. I mean, I would like to try something like this because it is an interesting mix of like low and high food in my mind. It's like a beautiful crust. It looks very well maintained, but then it's just got a hot dog on the inside, like that you pull out from like the grocery store, the 6-pack of Frank's.
People are asking about Canadian chocolate bars, if they're like the American chocolate bars, and I think what they're alluding to is that it was Hershey. They're putting, was it butane or something? It's like a preservative in the chocolate bar, and so people from Europe describes American chocolate bars chocolate tasting a bit like throw up, because it has like that acidic. Like if you ever had the taste of throw up in the back of your throat, it's a bit acidic, right? And so we wouldn't know, like we wouldn't associate with that. But yes, Canada actually has American style chocolate, but also European style chocolate. So it's kind of a mix. But we like both, right? There's no, we wouldn't ever say it tastes sour or throw up. But they say used chocolate has a waxy taste. That's because they use it's cheaper ingredients. But I mean, Canada has the same problem, right? But for stuff, but it depends on your bar, right? There's all sorts of kinds of stuff there. But
all right, while we're going down this path, like one of my favorite stories about chocolate is the story, and I saw this in like a documentary somewhere. But it's the story of how Hershey created milk chocolate, and as I'm going to tell you the story, and I also have it pulled up here from the words of Nova Pro itself. But the story that I understand is that like, what was Hershey's first name? Milton. Mr. Milton was like visited Europe and went to like Switzerland and like tried European chocolate and was like, wow, like this is really very interesting. But he had this obsession with like, because America, and especially at that point in time, milk in America was like being produced so massively in Pennsylvania where they were founded. He had this obsession with like replacing a lot of the ingredients with milk and therefore creating what's now known as like milk chocolate. But to me, what I like about the story is just the man's obsession with like wanting to incorporate a lot of milk into his chocolate recipe for I don't know what real reason other than it sounds kind of like it sounds kind of interesting.
And in the chat, it's the butyric acid that I was talking about that gives it that different taste. And but anyway, yeah, Canada and the States, we don't really notice it as tasting different. But I know it's the chocolate history is really interesting. I'm trying to think what else. Like I can't remember if it was like Kraft is really interesting as well. Kraft. I can't remember the thing about Kraft, but there was something really interesting about the history of Kraft. But people might not know, but Kraft dinner is very popular in Canada. You have in the States, right? Kraft dinner. Katie?
I feel like I've heard of it before, but
macaroni and cheese.
Oh yeah, I know macaroni and cheese. Yeah, totally.
Kraft macaroni and cheese, but like up here we call it KD.
Oh yeah, definitely the KD. Like this is not how it's branded here. Ours looks like this.
They don't. We just call it Kraft dinner KD. Because it's real Canadian.
It's just like, why do they call it? It's just like it's fun. Like, how do these nuances happen? It's the same thing, but
because
we call it mac and cheese and you call it KD.
Well, originally it was marketed in Canada, right? And so I think anyway. Well, anyway, I don't know. We could ask the LLM and it could just tell us there. But Canadians consume the most Kraft dinner in the world. That's pretty much true. We eat a lot of Kraft dinner. So if you come up here to the church, Trevor, I'll make you some real good KD and some peanut butter spicy
KD. Did you eat straight KD, or you putting some meat in there? Like, do you zhuzh it up with like some chives?
I'm always doing things to my food, but I don't know. I mean, I know I usually leave it alone. Like I like to have it on a burger.
All right,
I like it on a burger, but no, we don't overdo the Kraft dinner. Here I might get in trouble. People do ketchup. I don't do ketchup on my mac.
I could do a little. I did that when I was younger, but yeah.
Shallot ketchup or no ketchup? Kraft dinner.
Like ketchup on the mac and cheese?
Yes.
No.
You
know what? But to be fair, it's not something that I tried before. Like I could taste it and maybe it works. I don't know.
Well, it's not for me though. So, but But some people do. It's like ketchup on an omelet, right? You know, like when they I haven't ever had that. Well, I don't really eat omelets, but you know, like there's the stereotypical Japanese omelet where they like cut it and it like opens up and they put ketchup on it. The ketchup part always is the thing that really turns it off for me. Is like anything you put ketchup on, I go, ugh. If it's fries, okay. But so
they
I guess
do it in Korea too.
Oh, they do?
They'll have like what they call it, like an egg roll, where they literally take a bunch of eggs, like you would kind of cook it omelet style, but you like roll it into a bunch of layers, and then you'll put like some ketchup on there. I also know I have friends that put ketchup on spaghetti, and I kind of look at them.
Dude, on spaghetti?
I mean, I guess they're both tomatoes, right? So
they are.
Did they use sauce or did they just replace sauce with ketchup?
They replaced the sauce with ketchup, and I'm just like, do your thing.
All right, so Trevor, you're an essay, so let's think about like I want to build a visual novel video game, okay? And so what do we have to consider when building that? So I know like I need the background, I need the foreground of the person.
Well, I guess to back up the visual novel video game, like do you want it like you mean like controlling a visual novel, like you want to have a character that walks through a visual novel world, like a Pokemon game type thing?
So visual novel is a very specific type of game. I think it probably emerges from Japan. And I think that the original, like the core the core theme is it's normally a dating sim. So it's like, imagine a game that doesn't have much gameplay, but you might make some choices. And it's basically mostly text in a box that you read. Sometimes they're voice acted. And there's different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then the foreground, there is like a fixed amount of graphics to represent the people, right?
Yeah, and is it like it's like a multiple choice game or something where like you have like different paths to go down?
Basically, it's like, oh, I'm in Japan now, and I'm going to this high school, and I got to go to class. After I go to class, I run into this person, and they talk to me. Do I go with them or that? Like it's like choose your own adventure visual, right? That's what it is. So like from that aspect, there's obviously audio generation that we can do. There's if we want to. There's video. There's the foreground. There's the background image. But I guess my thought is like, if you have to generate these backgrounds separately, like, do you think it's just trial and error? Or?
Well, so I think like there's a few things like that I'm thinking. From like if I'm thinking about designing something like that, it's like you can definitely focus like I don't know the answer, but I'm sure there is a pretty reasonable solution to figuring out the continuity of images across the app. What's interesting, what I'm thinking when you describe the use case is like how dynamic do you want it to be? Because like one thing that like the one path you could go is you could kind of program in all of the like basically have the game and then dynamically generate the images, or you could like start the game with like a large model generating the storyline and like all the potential paths, like or like, hey, I would like you to generate whatever the type of game is called and give it some complex description of like the number of different steps and paths that you want it to generate, and then almost like dynamically generate the paths. Like that's what came into my mind.
I guess it's the technical uncertainty of like how good can it feasibly generate out the images, because like the thing is like if it's going to generate, it's going to be Garbola, right? Like maybe it does the story well, but the images are having consistency. Like, how do you make it feasible? Like, okay, maybe I can't generate out things, but maybe I can generate out and have a review step to then assemble a visual novel that I then I publish for people to be able to utilize, right? Or if the graphics are approved, like there's an approval stage, then it knows what graphics are approved that it can work with to generate a story, because it's a matter of like what kind of consistency can I get out with my images, right?
Yeah. I mean, I
quality wise, like approval, like I approve that this image is, I can work with this image, right? And then they could describe what the image is, and then it could make a story based on those images. Like maybe that would be a better approach based on where the technology is. Because you even saw it with me in Photoshop, I'm tweaking a bunch to try to get the result.
Yeah, well, so I do think that like something similar, like what you're talking about of like selecting the base image. It's like, yeah, like there will probably be some upfront path where you're given a few different options and you pick the one that you like in the example of like you generating anime images.
Mhm.
I don't know which models, but I'm almost certain some models, and if the base model doesn't do it, there's some like API providers that allow you to do it where you can send in the approved image as like the grounding image for the rest of the session or the rest of the
well, even with Nova, it was like, even if it's not generating consistent characters, like even if I just have one character in one pose, if I can just remove them from that background and then swap out the background with other folks, that's huge, right? Or maybe my limitation is all I can work with is person in scene.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine too, right? That could be totally fine. You know what I'm saying? But again, the end of the goal is to do a language immersion. So the scenario should be really, really small. Like imagine you go up to a post office and there's just someone standing there and it's just having basic conversation. So you might only have 3 shots, like one where I'm at my mailbox, right? One, what's in my mailbox, 2 at the counter, and that's it, right? Like that's your 3 shots, right? And the whole story is around those 3 generated images that are approved. So maybe it could be, again, I'm just talking to boot campers to think about scope, like, start small and say, okay, what can I work in my limitations and then if I can get beyond that scope, move to the next step. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's a series of videos that are following this. I'll have to upload them, but the JP Mud that I've been working on with Tim, we made the scope so large and then I reduced it again. And then I almost felt like I should reduce it again. And so maybe trying to work the least amount of limitations from there and expanding might be a better approach with these tools as it becomes very complex and challenging. But I don't know. This is kind of what I'm trying to, talk through and figure out what I can do. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting problem. I will say these for me personally, I've seen these models applied less in production. Like I see many more foundation models in like LLMs deployed in production where like I'm aware of all the little nuances and tricks to kind of sculpt them to my will. In this case, like it is like an interesting
Well, I've never seen anyone use images like in production to dynamically generate images because the consistency is all over the place. Like, well, I shouldn't say nobody does it because there's obviously like character AI or these companion applications, right?
Totally.
Like they have character consistency, but that's a very
and they're probably they're using, I'm sure, a pretty sophisticated set of guardrails, right? Or like some pretty strict control, and that is again probably something as simple as like taking the image and passing it into a text model to make sure that it's compliant. But the consistency problem, though, that I actually am curious how you solve the consistency problem.
I just kind of wonder if boot campers are going to try to make an AI girlfriend boyfriend that teaches you he texts you that teaches you language. But anyway, folks, think about like creative ideas that you can use this stuff for to make an immersion application and think about the limitations that you have to work with them. Yeah, another thing, like Mike's talking about like how most game engines handle dynamic scene content. Brian, who made the Bootcamp song you'll hear at the end that we always hear at the end of our streams here, we were actually working on a game together in Unity that is a language learning game. And so we were using I think Windsurf and Claude to generate out game code, and we tried doing 3D objects, but it didn't work out exactly there. But my point is that I built a lot of apps I haven't shown you, and I think what I might do this week is I might just record a bunch of these incomplete apps to show you, and maybe I'll make the source code available as well to show you all the things that you could do, because I literally have like 15, 20 apps we haven't seen, right? It's just, I made one today. I made one this morning. So like this morning, I was like trying to remember these really hard Japanese characters. And I wanted to have example sentences, like 5 example sentences. So I built an app that lets me put a word in and say, make X amount of sentences. And the hard part of it was getting the furigana, little characters that appear in the Japanese text. And then yesterday I made another new app, right? So I'm using Anki to study. And I wanted to be able to mass tag my flashcards. And so I found an existing plugin that allows you to mass select things. And I had to figure out a way to integrate an LLM, because you can't just put in any kind of library. You have to literally I had to literally tell it to write HTTP requests to OpenAI in order to integrate it into this plugin. And so it's just really interesting, the use cases, but I have like 15, 20 apps. So I'd love to run through it and show folks there. So I'll try to do that this week. Bootcampers grading is up. I actually put it up literally minutes before this stream. So those who want to submit for OPA, you can. If you are a bit late, I totally understand. This last week was very, very difficult. Just taking a look here at the comments. So I see, I can see if a 2D sprite where you could have an animation in a single sprite sheet, like different parts in a walking sequence. I've never had good generation for pixel art. I think Midjourney can kind of do that, but it's not really, really good at that. So like if I go over to here, I know folks can't see my screen. I'll bring it up here in a second. So if we went over to here and said, we say sprite sheet for Ninja 8-bit character. It might not do a very good job. I know that Photoshop's getting a bit better at that. Let's take a look and see what we can get. But does anyone have any interesting ideas of immersion applications? I'm just curious. Like the point and adventure click was a really good idea. So say point and adventure click game from the 90s. So these are like kind of like this. And the nice thing about this is that the artwork doesn't have to look good. It just has to look fun. Like this is really old. I remember this is like 80s basically, or late 80s, early 90s. Here's an example. But you can take a graphic and then you can stylize it after you bring it into Photoshop. So like see this image here. There's probably like an open source model that can do this as well, but they have like filters. I can find it here. Unless people find a way to get Photoshop somehow. I'm not sure how people do that. But if we go here and skip the tour, does it have like stylization here? I have to download styles. I thought maybe they might have one for like pixel art in here, but maybe they don't. Let's see if I can do this here. Resident Evil, yeah, that's that'd be interesting there. But I'll go back over to here for a second. It actually worked okay. That actually looks pretty. Wow, that's actually pretty okay. I was actually surprised with that. There was another scenario. There's actually another game I really like from the 90s. It's like Escape from Titanic. It's probably the most boring game ever. Escape from Titanic. So it's a game. It's like Titanic travel back in time. It's not Escape from Titanic. It's a point. There it is. Oh boy, do I love this game. It's so weird how much I love games that are awful from 30 years ago. This game was really fun because basically it's the future and for some reason you're really upset about the Titanic. And so somehow in the past, our past, people figure out how to travel back in time to the Titanic and to solve like a murder mystery or something before it sinks. And it just happens to take place at night when everyone's sleeping, so that they didn't have to have all these characters in the game. but there are a few characters, but the way they have the characters, they have human looking characters that are pixelated and they talk really weird with real voice acting. And if I have a chance, maybe I'll shoot a bit of a video of it because it's just so interesting and weird. But I really love this game. Is there any games that you folks like way back then that were kind of weird?
I don't know if it was super weird, but I just as we're like waxing nostalgic about video games, I know there was one on, I think it might have been Super Nintendo, it might have been NES, where you're like a mail boy and you're like throwing newspapers in mailboxes.
I love
Paperboy.
Paperboy,
yeah.
Did anyone ever play Mind Maze for Encarta? So imagine all you have is Encarta 95. There's a game built in. It's just a trivia game. This is a fun one. I was actually going to make this as a game before all this. I can do it now, but like before that, when LLMs weren't very good, I was trying to add this to my exam pro platform as a way to learn through certifications. But to me, like this would be really fun to make this kind of style where I could do that, or I could do this as a style. Rockstar Ate My Hamster. I've never heard of that. What is that? Is that appropriate or?
I mean, it seems like a video game.
I've never even heard of this. Is this a new game that is in an older style? No, this is not new. This is 1988. I've never even heard of this one. This looks really good
for niche. 88. This is niche, y'all.
Like, was that like Stevie Wonder? Like
it does. It looks like Stevie Wonder and like maybe
and Michael Jackson. What is happening?
Dangerous Creatures in Carta Pack. Dangerous Creatures. I'm not sure if I remember that one. I remember Mind Maze. It depends on what year it was. You know, another game I really liked back then was Encarta. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I remember this. But I remember this is like the earliest game I can remember playing a lot as a kid was Carmen Sandiego. So, and I'm talking like the DOS version. So I'm not like DOS version. I'm not sure if anyone ever played this, Carmen Sandiego. Love that game. But all these are good for language immersion. So I'm just trying to give people ideas of possible things that they could try to make for their, because I remember you have this upcoming weekend next week. So giving you generous amounts of time to try to have fun, right? So go try to build something fun. And again, we're just going to continue on and I'm going to be building stuff, but again, it's not prescriptive. I'm building the JP Mud. You can watch the videos. You don't have to build a JP Mud, right? I'm going to follow this up and build a visual novel. You can build one if you want. You don't have to. Just try to open the door here. Typing of the Dead. That sounds really fun. I did make that one typing game that I made, but it's not exactly the same. You know, the ones that fall from here, but this one's interesting. That is so clever. you type to shoot, right? Tina Tuna. I'm glad no one's giving me anything I can't not show on screen here. Tina Tuna. Is this a game?
It seems like maybe just like a drag queen.
People aren't helping here. They're just trying to get me in trouble here. Encarta with Patrick Stewart intro. Yeah. So there's a lot of types of games I think that you can make that are immersive. So I'd like to hear folks' ideas. We're going to have after class Q in here in a few minutes. And, you know, I hope people come up and just share some of the ideas that they might have. I'd love to hear about it. Also, just get an idea how homework is going. Greatly appreciate Trevor coming out here and showing us image generation and some video generation. Folks, if you want to do, it's expensive, but if you want to do video generation, you absolutely can. And if you can get to work, Oregon Trail, that's a good one too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The one we had in Canada that was really popular was Cross Country Canada. I don't know if you had this in the States, Cross Country Canada. But this is the one that all Canadians know. And so the idea is you pick up stuff from a location, you have to drop it off in other cities, and you can pick up a hitchhiker on the way. You got to go to diner and eat food at the diner. You have to sleep in your cab, sleep in a thing. It's surprisingly, but this is
what was the context? Trail. Like, where did most people play this game? Because for me, okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Because Oregon Trail was like, I don't know why they had us playing video games. Like, are these arguably educational games? I guess they're teaching you Canadian geography.
Yeah, no, it's geography. Yeah, or like I love number munchers. So I was thinking, like, how do you make number munchers for language learning? Like, you know, if there's like maybe specific. If you're learning like kanji or whatever, maybe it tells you like crunch all the K line ones or whatever. Road Rash. I've never played Road Rash.
Per usual.
And so we go over to here.
Road Rash was a good one.
Well, what is it? Is it just a racing game or?
Yeah, so you're racing on bikes, but you get to hit people with chains and bats and stuff to knock them off their bike.
Now, how does that work into language learning? Or we're just having too much fun going down nostalgia lane here. But yeah, boot campers. So I'll see you in office hours here again. Trevor, I appreciate your time. Shala, as always. And you'll have to show us the swords next time. Pull them out.
For real.
And any parting words for our boot campers, Trevor?
Any parting words?
Uh-oh.
Like, how long can I let the silence go before somebody interrupts me?
Trevor, I was thinking maybe you're waiting for the prompt to come back.
No, I was like reading the chat, looking for inspiration. No inspiration happened. Godspeed, folks. Here's my words. My words of inspiration is like most of the people that are really good at GenAI, like just started learning it in like the last 12 months. So like, congrats for like digging in now while it's like this is like an emerging field, and like genuinely, if you get the foundations under you on this one, like assuming that the curve keeps on curving, it positions yourself quite well. So good luck, you all, and thanks for having me on, Andrew.
And one last thing I'll say to boot campers is that, you know, if you don't know what to do for that, you could always try to make a music video for the boot camp theme song, generate some images, old style here. But anyway, yeah, thanks everyone here, and of course I'll get up the boot camp theme song queued up here. It's a bit hard. It's just me here today, so usually Baco's working in the background here, but I'm going to go ahead and find it here. We're going to drop the song. In the lungs of my pop stars, hints from those shared design. Sand wax the last of my wars. These found through costly fire. Dance from the whims and down our parts. Bees one that ever alien friends from distant sounds. Share joy of the love we brought. Amid the hum of machines, the glance reveals two souls connecting in the cosmic wheels. A tree forged over flavors intertwined. The universe butterflies like the fires. Together we sway, stars in our eyes. Across galaxies wide, no halting skies. Left the echo in the empty aisles. Eclipse but sheds in a million losing right across the universe of sky. Will your sandwich could suffice to break the barriers now the ice? Once past our eyes, that's often by its smile. Cosmic jelly fades for just a little while. Under flickering lights in this humble place, our mighty probes transcend the time and the space. In its lunge, not while we're still alive. Our mouths like evils, we still side by side. From beyond the stars, we both come to fall in peace within the hum and the hum. Eclipsed by shadow moons and right across the union desert sky. For you, it's some which could suffice to break the barriers, melt the earth.